అది మేడం. స్టార్ట్ చేశాను ఇక్కడ.
Okay, so I'll start the class for now.
Okay.
So in yesterday's class, I have explained you about pin description of 8086 completely, and I have given you a clear idea about the minimum mode pins and maximum mode pins, and I have also explained about everything, every function of each
Yes,
pin
sir.
which is operated in minimum mode and which is operated in maximum mode. So am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so in today's class we'll see about the minimum mode operation and how the timing with clear explanation with the timing diagrams, how the minimum mode operation, how the microprocessor is made to be operated in minimum mode, and how the timing variations will be calculated in the minimum mode operation. Okay, so you are able to see the screen, right? So you can able to see the screen, right?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So in this screen, you can observe the minimum mode operation interfacing of microprocessor. Uh, so the block which is visible on the screen is your microprocessor. So you can see a block towards your left side of the screen. So that is your microprocessor, 8086 microprocessor. You can see that there are only minimum mode pins, okay? Memory input, output, read, write, bus high, enable, ALE, DEN bar, and DT by R bar. So these are all the pins which makes the microprocessor to operate in minimum mode configurations. If these pins are active, so that means the microprocessor is operating in minimum mode configuration. So this is your microprocessor block. Okay, so next so here we are providing the reset, the clock signal, and ready signal from a clock generator. So this is your clock generator. Okay, so can you see the clock generator over the screen? So that is your clock generation. When a trigger pulse is applied to a clock generator, the reset clock ready pins of the clock generator will be activated, and that signals will be given to provided to the microprocessor in order to make the microprocessor active. Okay, so we have a clock generator which provides the signals to the microprocessor to make the microprocessor in
అది
a
మేడం.
active state. Yeah.
అది మేడం టాపిక్ ఏంటి?
The minimum mode operation of 8086.
Okay.
Okay, so this is your clock generator. So by using this clock generator only, we will provide the signals to the microprocessor, and we will make the microprocessor to be in active state. So reset signal, clock signal, and ready signal will be provided by the microprocessor to this clock through this clock generator. So we are using 8284 clock generator here. So we are available with the different types of clock generators, and we are using 8284 clock generator. Okay, so 8282 clock, by using this 8282 clock generator. So clock generator is nothing but which provides the signals, which provides the clock signals to the microprocessor. So the microprocessor clock signal will be in synchronized with this clock generator clock. Okay, so we are connecting a clock generator to the microprocessor clock signal, and the ready pin of the clock generator is connected to ready pin of the microprocessor. Reset pin is connected to reset pin of microprocessor, and we have to apply a trigger to the clock generator in order to make the clock generator active. So trigger signals will be applied at ready and reset terminals of the clock generator. So you can see a clock generator, right? On the screen I have displayed only the clock generator. So on the screen I have displayed only clock generator. You can able to see that, right? So that clock generator, we first trigger it, we first apply input to this clock generator in order to make the clock generator active. So this clock generator, the main thing, the main purpose of the clock generator is to generate clocks. Activate a clock signal. Activate the microprocessor by providing a clock signal. So the clock generator will generate the signals. Okay. So this clock generator, by using this clock generator, we can generate clock signals, and we apply the clock trigger to the microprocessor. So this clock generator will generate a clock signal. So this is a crystal oscillator. So we can use a crystal oscillator. To the right edge of the clock generator, there is some component, right? So that is your crystal oscillator. So by using that crystal oscillator, clock generator will get activated, and it will generate the clock signals which are then provided to the microprocessor. So this clock generator also synchronizes some external signals with this system clock. So if there are some external signals like ready and reset, so it also synchronizes those ready and reset signals. That means some external signals with the system clock. So these signals will be in synchronization with the signals, system signals. So this is your next to the clock generator towards your left edge, you can see a microprocessor circuit. So in the microprocessor 8086, all the pins are not described, only since we are talking about minimum mode of operation, only minimum mode pins are described in the microprocessor. So you can see memory input output, read, write, bus high enable, address latch enable, data enable, and data receiver and transmitter pins in the microprocessor circuit. So these are all pins which makes the microprocessor to operate in minimum mode configuration. So these are all minimum mode pins. So while explaining the pin diagram concept, I have defined you what are the minimum pins and what are the maximum pins and what are the operations of these minimum and maximum pins. So this microprocessor, as we are talking about minimum mode of operation, so the microprocessor is projected with only minimum mode pins. So however, we need to provide input to the microprocessor. So address data lines, address and data, so that is the input which we will provide to the processor. So address data lines, we have considered address data lines AD0 to AD15 and address status line A16 to A19, including status pins S3, S4, S5 and S6. So these are all the pins which we need to connect with other components when we make the microprocessor to be operated in minimum mode configuration. Okay. So these are the things. So minimum mode configuration. So what do you mean by minimum mode configuration? So I have explained you what is minimum mode and what is maximum mode while the time of architecture, while I am explaining the architecture and while I am explaining the pin diagram. Respond. What is minimum mode? What is maximum mode? So do you are you aware of single mode operation and single processor mode operation and multi-processor mode operations? Asla terms vinnara, single processor mode, multi-processor mode.
No, madam.
No. So in yesterday's class also I have explained about single processor mode and multi-processor mode. So in minimum mode configuration, so the 8086 processor stands alone and remaining components will perform their own activities. So the components which are attached to the microprocessor will perform their own activities. They will not interfere in the microprocessor activities. They will not control or they will not interfere in the operations that are carried out by microprocessor. But in the case of maximum mode, so when we make the microprocessor to be operated in maximum mode, so that components like direct memory access and etc., or the other components that are connected to the microprocessor will takes the will in charges the operations of the microprocessor. So they also will act as microprocessors by controlling the activities. So maximum mode is called as multi-processor mode, and minimum mode is called as single processor mode. In yesterday's class also I have explained about this, and you are saying you don't heard about these multi-mode and single mode operations. Okay. So సో నౌ ఇప్పుడన్నా గుర్తు పెట్టుకోండి. సో మల్టీ మోడ్ ఆపరేషన్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ వెన్ ద ప్రాసెసర్ ఈజ్ మేడ్ టు బి ఆపరేటెడ్ ఇన్ maximum mode, then it is called as multi processor mode. So single processor mode is nothing but when we make the processor to operate in minimum mode configuration, then it is called as single processor mode. Okay, so these are two mode of operations: minimum mode, single processor mode; maximum mode, multi processor mode. Clear? సో ఎవరైతే తెలీదు వినలేదు అని చెప్పారో వాళ్ళు మస్ట్ అండ్ షుడ్ గా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. సో ఐ హావ్ రిపీటెడ్ దిస్. సింగిల్ మోడ్ ఈజ్ మినిమమ్ మోడ్ and multi mode is maximum mode. Okay, maximum mode of operation is called as multi processor mode. So single mode operation of 8086 is single processor mode is nothing but minimum mode. Okay, so as we are talking about minimum mode operations, so we in order to make the microprocessor to operate in minimum mode, so we need to make this minimum maximum pin. So minimum maximum pin which is connected to VCC. Okay, so here you can see that minimum maximum pin is connected to VCC. So this minimum maximum pin must be strapped to logic 1. So when we set the pin to the logic 1, then we can say that the microprocessor is operating in minimum mode operations. Okay, so how we make the microprocessor to operate in minimum mode? So by strapping this minimum maximum mode pin to to 1. Okay, so this in minimum mode of operation, this minimum maximum pin should be strapped to logic 1. Okay, so in this mode all the control signals are given out of the microprocessor. So if you can see this, all the control signals will be, so to control this microprocessor, so the signals will be provided outside of the microprocessor. So here we are using some sort of components. So we are using a clock generator to control the operations, so in order to activate the microprocessor. So we are using latches, we are using transceivers, and we are using memory devices, control circuits. Everything is connected externally to the microprocessor circuit. So this is your microprocessor circuit, and everything is connected externally. Okay, so everything is connected externally to the microprocessor. So in this mode, in this minimum mode of operations, all the controls are given out of the microprocessor chip itself. Okay, so next, if you can see, we are using latches, transceivers, memory circuits, control logic, demultiplexer. So everything is connected externally. So that means the remaining components, so these are the components which are connected externally. So based on the address mapping, so nothing but there should be some communication between these devices and the microprocessor in order to take care of operations. In order to do the operations or in order to perform the operations, there must be synchronization or some address mapping between this system and the other components that are connected to the microprocessor. Okay, so we need to establish some connections. So nothing but interfacing. So we are interfacing every component with this microprocessor. You can see that every component is connected to microprocessor somehow. So latches are directly connected to ALE, demultiplex is connected to memory input and read pins of the microprocessor. Transceivers are connected to DEN bar and DT by R bar, which are internally connected to latches. So memory unit is connected to transceivers, and control logic is connected to BHE bar. So here the control logic is connected to BHE bar. So here, so this is the path BHE bar, and it is connected to control logic, and memory input output read signals, memory input output read and write signals are connected to demultiplexer. So ALE is connected to the latches, and DEN bar, DT by R bar is connected to transceivers. So you can see the screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is how the connections are established in between the memory, sorry, 8086 and all other components. So you can see latches over here. So we are connected some latches to ALE terminal. So ALE terminal. So generally we can use a latch for we can use a latch or a D flip flop. So we can use it is the single bit memory storage unit. So latches are nothing but single bit storage devices. So these are used to separate the address from address data lines. So we have address data lines which are multiplexed. So we have address data lines that are multiplexed. So these latches are used to separate this data and address. Okay, so from these multiplexed lines, address and data will got separated based on this latch operation. So we can use 8 to 8 to latch also. So here we are using a 74373 latch. Okay, 74373 is the latch configuration. So we can use 8 to latches also. So these are generally a buffered outputs. Okay, so what is the input which we are giving to the signal? The buffered output will be taken out from the latches. Okay, so that means if you are providing 0 or to the input terminal of the latch, we can get 1 over there. So if we are giving 1, so we will get 0. So these are all the buffer. So generally we can get buffered output over these latches. So what is the purpose of latch? Why we are connecting latches to the microprocessor means, so we use latch in order to separate the address and data signals. Okay, so this latch is connected by ALE, controlled by ALE signal of the microprocessor. So you can see that this latch strobe is connected to ALE. So this the signal over ALE will determines the operation of latches. Okay, so this latch is connected with the ALE signal. So ALE is used to control these latches. So next we have transceivers. Okay, so we have transceivers connected to the microprocessor. So these are the transceivers are nothing but bidirectional buffers. So these are bidirectional buffers. So you can remember that latches are the simple buffered output circuit. So we can get zeros and ones. This is a single directional thing, and transceivers are bidirectional. Okay, transceivers are bidirectional. So if you can see that it's a double-headed arrow indicated in between this transceiver. So here, from here to here, so from this point of 8085 to this thing. So this is the arrow. Okay, so we are using a double-headed arrow. So that means it can intake the input from the microprocessor, and it can give you the output also. So it is a bidirectional buffer. So so these are all used. These transceivers are sometimes called as data amplifiers. So whatever the data that it takes from the microprocessor, it will amplify the data also. So these are also acts as a data amplifier. So these are also used to separate the data. So latches will separate address from the address data lines, and transceivers will separate the data from address data lines. So latches or transceivers are used to separate address and data that is present in this multiplexed address data lines. So what is the purpose of latch? It will separate the data, it will separate the address from the address data lines. However, a transceiver is used to separate the data from address data lines. So that is the main purpose of these latches and transceivers. So these transceivers, you can see here, these transceiver terminals, C and DIR terminals of these transceivers are connected to DEN bar and DT by R bar. That means the signals are provided at DEN bar and DT by R bar will controls the transceiver operations. So these are the two signals which are used to control the transceiver operations. So DEN signal indicates the data. Data on the microprocessor. So data bus lo data availability unda leda annadi den bar. So data enable will provides the information about the availability of data over the data bus. So it will gives you the data availability, status of data availability at the data bus. So next, dt by r bar will gives you the direction of the data. So that means the direction of the data means whether the data is taking receiving from the microprocessor or data is providing to the microprocessor. So that direction, so is the microprocessor receiving the data or it is sending the data out, that information will be given by this dt by r bar. Okay, so the direction of data, so that is the data is to the processor or data is from the processor, that information will be provided by this dt by r bar. So these are the two signals, den bar and dt by r bar are the signals which are used to control the operation of this transceivers. So next you have memory. So RAM and ROM is nothing but memory, right? So you have memory and input output devices. Sorry. So is it clear? Is the screen clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you can see memory, RAM, ROM and input output devices. So this is nothing but memory and input output devices. So the system contains some memory. So memory, what is the use of memory? To store some data. So memory, the main purpose of the memory is to store some data. So whether the data might be user program storage or it might be the monitor storage. That means whether it may be the input to the processor or it may be the result from the processor. So we need some space to store that data. So that space is nothing but memory. So we have RAM and ROM over here. So CS0, CSE. So we have control signals for this RAM and ROM. So whether to store the data, that means read the data or to write the data. Okay. So RAM is your temporary memory. So since it is temporary memory, we can read the data or we can write the data. Okay. So we can read the data or we can write the data or we can take the data or we can give the data. So RAM is your temporary memory. It is connected to the transceiver. So transceiver, what is the purpose of the transceiver? It will separate the data from address data lines. So the data received by the transceiver will be sent to memory. So you can see the path here. So this is the path. Okay, so this is the path which is established between this transceiver and RAM. Through this path, the transceiver will send the data that it is received from the address data lines. So this is the path how it got transferred. So this is transferred to transceivers and transceivers will separate the data from address data lines. The data at the transceivers will be sent to memory. So the memory will stores the data that is provided by the transceivers. And you can also see here from the upper side of the RAM up towards the upside of the RAM. So address. So here the latch will take the address. So latches will take only the address available in address data lines. Transceivers will take the data that is available in address data lines. So both address and data will be stored in memory. So you can see the connections. You can see there is a path between this latches to RAM and ROM and transceivers to RAM and ROM. So in order to store the data which is received from the latches and transceivers, that means from address data lines of the microprocessor. So the address and data will be stored in this memory unit. So memory is nothing but the storage space. So RAM and ROM. Okay, we have two types of memories, RAMs and ROM. Usually we can use EPROMs also. Okay, so EPROMs for monitor stage, that is nothing but the output which is provided by the system. So for that stage we can use EPROMs instead of ROMs. Okay, so RAMs for program storage. So whatever the user data which we are providing, that will be stored temporarily, right? So that for the temporary storage we can go for RAMs. Okay, So RAMs are used for user program storage, and ROMs or EPROMs are used for monitor stage storage, nothing but result storage and input storage. Okay. So next we have input output lines. So input output followed by memory. So input output is nothing but system. Every system will contain input and outputs. So the purpose of this input output is to make establish a communication between the processor and user, or a processor and devices. So here input. So suppose the user need to give some data to the system. That means input devices are required. So మీరు ఒక సిస్టమ్ ని కన్సిడర్ చేసుకోండి. సపోజ్ మీ మైండ్ లో ఉన్న థాట్స్ ని మీరు సిస్టమ్స్ లో పెట్టి ప్రోగ్రామ్ చేయాలి. సో వితౌట్ కీబోర్డ్ కెన్ యూ గివ్ ద డేటా టు ద మానిటర్ or the processor? No, right? So that means input and output devices will act as interfacing between the user and system, or some other devices and system. Okay. So input output units. So you can see input output read and input output write. Here you have IO read and IO write commands through control signal. So this is your control logic. So this control logic is connected to BHE bar. So bus high enable. On the signal based on bus high enable, this control logic will get activated. So not only this control logic is not entirely depend upon this bus high enable. So it also depends upon A0 signal. So A0 signal. So this is another signal which we are providing to the control logic. So based on this A0 signal and this control BHE bar, this bus high, this control logic will get activated. Okay. So these two signals are used to activate this control logic. Okay. So this control logic will get activated on these two signals, and after activation it will provide a control CSIO. So control signal input output. So this control signal input output will be transferred to this input output device. Okay. So this input output read command, on input output read command and input output write command, this input output device will act accordingly. Okay. So this will act accordingly to with the commands that are given by these two commands. So either input output read or input output write. So there are so this control logic is used for accessing either RAM or ROM. So RAM lo store cheyala data, ROM lo store cheyala, that will also be depending upon this control logic only. So again you have demultiplexer here. Okay. So demux. So it is connected to memory input output read and write pins of the microprocessor. So you have demultiplexer is nothing but, so what is the purpose of demultiplexer? So it will demultiplex. That means whenever we have a multiplexed lines, so it will give. So if you have two commands over a single line, it will provide two different lines. So if you have n inputs, it will provide 2 power n outputs. So demultiplexer is nothing but it will separate. So multiplexed signals ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో వాటిని separate చేయడానికి will use demultiplexer. AC లో చదివారు కదా, STLD లో చదివారుగా. Hello, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
క్లాస్ లో కంటిన్యూ అవుతున్నారమ్మా?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So demultiplexer. So demultiplexer is nothing but, so this demultiplexer is used to differentiate the signals. So it is connected to memory input output read and write signals. So that means, sorry. Okay. So memory input output and read and write signals. So with these three signals, it has given a 4 outputs. So what are those? Memory read, memory write, input output read and input output write. So these are the 4 commands which this demultiplexer will provides you. So based on these 4 lines, Based on these 4 lines, we can get the outputs. So memory read, so if the memory read command is activated, that means memory will be read from the RAM and ROM devices. So based on the control logic, it will read. So memory read is activated, so this control logic is then get activated, then it will show the path. So whether it has to be read from ROM or it has to be read from RAM. So what at what place the memory is available, the data is available, and from what place the system has to read the data. So these are the 4 commands. Okay. So next thing, so this is all the connections. So this is all how we made this minimum mode operation, establishment of a minimum mode operations. So let's see the timing diagrams. So here you have clock signal. Okay. So here you have a clock signal. So in the timing diagram, you can see a clock signal. So here, okay. So this is the clock signal. So can you able to see, right? T1, T2, T3, TW, and T4. So this is your clock signal. So this clock signal contains 4 clocks. So T1, T2, T3, and T4. So in between T3 and T4, there is a state called wait state. Okay. So this is your So this is your wait state. So one up and one down. Okay. So this is your wait state. So this wait state will creates you an additional time. So if at all there is a mismatch in the clock signal of the microprocessor and the original clock generated by a clock generator, so that will be balanced in this wait state. Okay. So first, whenever this is the read cycle. So this is the minimum mode read cycle diagram. So we have timing diagrams for read cycle and write cycle. So the working of the minimum mode configuration can be described by using this read cycle and write cycles. Okay. So this is write cycle diagram and this is read cycle diagram. So the working will be explained in terms of this timing diagrams only. So construction part I have done with earlier. So before I have explained all how the construction establishment is done for minimum mode operation. So and here the operation will be explained with this timing diagrams. So we have the microprocessor operate on fetch, decode, and execute. So these are the 3 operations: fetching of data, decoding, and executing. So fetching of data is nothing but taking the data or receiving the getting the data. So fetching means the data has been available in some external source. It has been getting the taking the data from that external source. Reading the data means it is understanding the data. So what the data is available with it, what is the data that has been fetched. So that will be the understanding capability is nothing but reading. Writing means working on the data. So okay. So these are the 3 operations: fetching, reading, and writing. So fetching of data, reading of data, and writing of the data is the main thing that is done by the microprocessor. So based on these 3, so we have to get three timing diagrams: for fetching how the operation has been carried out, for reading how the operation is carried out, and for writing how the operation is carried out. But in the case of these operations, the opcode fetch and read cycles are similar. Okay. So this is your read cycle diagram for timing diagram for minimum mode. So for fetching, you can use this same diagram only. So for fetching and for opcode fetching and for reading cycles, the timing diagrams are similar. So we are having only 2 major classes. So that is nothing but for reading and for writing operation. So this is for writing operation and this is for reading operation. So the timing diagram for read cycle and timing diagram for write cycle, only you are having with only 2, not 3. So since opcode fetch and read cycles follows similar timing diagrams, so you have only two categories. Okay. So 2 major classes. One is the read cycle and another one is write cycle. So you can see a clock signal here. So this is your clock signal. Okay. So you can see the pointer, right? Sorry. So this is your clock diagram. So this is your clock signal. So clock signal is nothing but a simple square pulse. So this is all your clock signal. So you have four states: T1, T2, T3 and T4. So in between T3 and T4, so you have a wait state. So this is your wait state. Okay, so wait state will act in between this T3 and T4. So okay, so this is your wait state. So next, this is your ALE. So ALE is nothing but address latch enable, which enables the latch to separate address and data. So the read cycle begins with T1. So we read cycle begins with T1 with the assertion of ALE signal. So and address, whenever the address latch enable has given a strobe on the latch signals, so then the address over the address data lines will get separated. So this will happen at T1 time of cycle. So during that T1 time, the address latch enable will be in the high state. Okay, so it will be active high, and so during this T1 state, address latch enable is high, and it will provides the latches to get activated, and latches will separate the data from the address data lines. So latches are connected to this address data lines, latches will separate the data from address from the address lines, and it will transfers the address to address lines. So in this path. Okay, so this is the path. Okay, so it will send to memory. Okay, this is the path. So you can see the path, right? Okay, so here you have address latch enable, which is activated at T1 time. So after activating this address latch enable, so during the negative going edge of the signal, so during this negative going edge, so that is nothing but this is the negative going edge. So this is during this negative going edge of the signal, so the valid address is latched at the address bus. So during that this negative going edge address is latched in the address latch enable signal. So since we get address over here, so the address status lines will get activated. Okay, so the BHE bar, so here we have BHE bar. So this BHE bar will activate the control logic then. So the control logic gets activated, and it will instruct the latch where to store the address. So where the address to be transferred, whether it is to be transformed to RAM or ROM. So this will provides you the data. It will get activated, and it will provide you the data where the address that is latched will be sent to. So at T1 times only ALE will be in active state. In the rest of the condition, it will be inactive. So after receiving the data, the BHE and this A0 signals. So I have said you that this control logic will be enabled by using BHE and A0 signals. So when these signals are low, or either both should be low or both should be high. Okay, so when they are low and high, so from T1 to T4, so from this T1 to T4 so memory input output signals operations will be carried out. So from this clock cycle, from T1 to T4, from this point of time to this point of time, the operations, memory input output operations will be carried out in the processor. So memory input output operations will be carried out. So at T2, so at this point of time, the address is removed from the local bus. So here the address is transferred earlier. On activating this, the address is activated. So this the address placed on these buses will be. So here the address is placed in the bus from the latch. So here you have address light A0 to A19. Can you able to see? Can you able to see this? Yeah. So here you have A0 to A19 address, separated address on the address bus. So this will get activated. So that means the operations will be performed on this address that is available. So that means at T2 the address is removed from the local bus. From after at T1 latches will get activated and it will separate the address from address data bus. So after separating at T2, this address will get separated from the removed from the local bus. At T1 it got separated and at T2 it will be removed from the local bus. So here you can see the address status. So this is your address signal. Since it is since at T1 it got fetched, it is in high state. So this is the thing. So this is okay. So this is your address signal. So it is in high state and after T1, so at T2 it will go down. Okay. So then status came to frame. Okay. So at T2 it will go down. So this is where the address signal is high, and again after T4 and again after the operation, so it will go slow, and again after completion of T4 it will again goes high. Okay. So this is the address signal variation. So at T1 whenever the ALE signal gives the strobe to the latch will separate the address and it will be transferred to address bus. So this address bus, so the address will be then present in this address bus. How long the address will be present in that address bus? Until the T1 cycle is completed and T2 is initiated. Up to T2 it will be present in this address bus. Okay. So at T2 it will be again removed from the address bus. That means we don't have any address on the address bus. So it will goes down. So the address line will goes down. So here there will be no status. So A19 to A16, that means address status lines. So since we are using these lines as address lines, there will be no status. So status is not available. The status goes opposite to the address lines. So since address is going in this way, so this is the address line. So the status will be exactly opposite to the, so this will be status. Okay, the status will be exactly opposite. It goes exactly opposite to the, so it goes exactly opposite to the address line. Okay. You can able to see, right? So it will goes exactly opposite to the address line. So this is how address and status will be varied at a time T1, T2, T3 and TW, T4 states. So at అమ్మ అర్థమవుతుంది కదా? సో టైమింగ్ డయాగ్రామ్స్ అర్థమవుతున్నాయా? హలో అమ్మ కంటిన్యూ అవుతున్నారా క్లాస్ లోని? Okay. So here the address status will be exactly opposite. Since these are multiplexed address status lines, whenever the address pointer is high, the status will be low. Okay. Here blue line indicates your status and red line indicates your address. So since here the address is low, the status pin will be get activated. So at the time T1 address will get activated due to the call of ALE. So address will be present in the address bus. So up to time T1 there will be address in the address bus. Since the latches separated the address and it will be transferred to the address bus, up to time T1 only the address will be available. So later the address is removed from the buses and it will be transferred to the memory. Okay, so there will be no address and the status pins are high then. Okay, so next address data. So coming to the address data lines. So here you have 16 address data lines. On activating of this DEN bar, so DEN bar and DHE bar, that means on activating of this transceivers, so the transceiver will collect the data only the data from these multiplexed address data lines. So it will not take any address. So it will simply take the data from these address data lines. So the data will be transferred to this transceiver. So this transceiver will provide the data to the, so this transceiver will provide the data to the memory input output devices. Okay, so So after the address got removed from this local bus, so it is sent to the output. So the address will be sent to the output. So at the time t2, address will be removed. So that means then the read signal will get activated. So then the read signal will get activated. So at the time 2, this read signal will get activated. So since this is read bar, so activation of read is nothing but it has to be set to 0 since it is read bar, right? So it is read bar. So it is not simply read, it is read bar. So that means RD is equals to 1. RD should be 1. So read should be in high state. That means read bar should be equals to 0. Read bar should be equals to 0. Since it is read bar, so kept in high means we have to keep it in low state. Okay. So read bar will get activated. That means read bar will get activated, but that means read signal is activated. That means read bar should be made 0. Okay. So it is in low state. Okay, at time t2. So at time t2. So this is time t2. At time t2, read bar should be in activated state. So that means the system will read the data. So whatever the data fetched or whatever the opcode that is fetched in the previous instruction, the processor will understand that instructions that are fetched by the buses or something. So okay. So it will get activated. So this read signal will get activated. That means read bar should be in 0 state. Okay. So read bar should be in 0 state. So that means it get activated here. So remaining times it will be inactive. So after time t2 only, read bar will be activated and the system will reads the data, work out on the data. That means it will understand the data which it is fetched. So here you have den bar and dt by r bar. So den and dt by r. So these will provides data over transceivers. So this transceiver on activation of den and dt bar, dt by r bar, it will collect some data. So this will collect the data. So this will be provided by the address latch enable. So after this address will be transferred, so then data will be taken out from the memory. So taken out from the memory and it will be provided to the microprocessor. So then the writing operation will be done. So writing operation I will explain it later. So coming to the read operation, so den bar and dt by r bar will be in synchronized with read bar. So den bar, so that means the data has to be taken. So in order to perform the operation, data has to be taken. So den bar will follows read bar. Okay, so whenever the read bar goes high, it will goes high, and whenever the read bar goes low, it will go slow. So that means availability of, if there is data only, then the microprocessor will be available to read the data, right? So data availability untene it will understand the data. So that means whenever the data, whenever the read bar goes activated, den bar also goes activated. So whenever the read bar goes low, den bar also goes low. Okay, so dt by r bar, data transfer and receiver. So data transmission and receiving will be activated from t1 state and it will be activated up to, and it will be in the active state up to t4. Okay, it will be activated from t1 and it will be continuing in that state up to t4. That means up to the completion of the task. So either the data should be transmitted or received. So okay, so here you can see the data transmission. So the data will be transmitted. Okay, clear? So these are the timing diagrams of read cycle, minimum mode operation, that is read cycle. So here you have clock signal. At a time t1, ALE will get activated. So ALE is in up state. So since it is ALE, so it is not ALE bar, it is ALE. It will be activated at t1. That means it is high at t1, and rest of the time it is it is in the low state. So address status line. So address, this is your address line. So at time t1 there will be address. So ALE will separate the will activate the latches, and latches will get the address. So at time t1 only address will be available, and remaining times there will be no address. So at remaining times it will work on data. So next thing is since these are address status lines are multiplexed, whenever the address is high, this there will be no status. So status is low. So whenever Madam, 5 minutes, madam. So whenever the status is low, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So whenever the address is low, the status is high, and whenever the address is high, the status is low. So again, address and data. So data will be obtained from these transceivers. Okay. So whenever the den bar goes high, there will be data. Okay. So whenever den bar goes high, there will be data. Sorry, den goes high. Den bar will be in active low state. So it is active whenever it is set to 0. Since it is den bar, so whenever it is set to 0, it will be in the active state. So whenever den bar is active, so the buses are reserved for data. Okay. So the data will be present in the buses. Okay. Whenever the den bar is high, not under inactive state, so there will be data, there will be address. Okay. So the address and data lines will be like this based on this den bar. So read operation. So after giving the data address in the address data lines, after dropping the address, the read operation will be carried out. After fetching of the data, read operation will be carried out. So read. So then the read signal, we have to make the read signal to be in active high state. So read signal active high means read bar should be in 0 state. Okay, 0. Read bar is 0. That means the signal is active high. During this time there will be data. So the data will be understood by the microprocessor during this time. So and again dt by den bar. So this den will follows this read operation. So since whenever there is the availability of the data, then only the microprocessor can able to read the data. So that means den will follows read and read will follows den. So these two signals follow each other. So dt by r bar from the starting of the time. So from the starting, so from t1 to till the completion of the operations, so that is up to t4. So this will be in the high state. Data receiver will be in the high state. Clear? I need response from your side. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
So do
ma'am.
you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No. So coming to the write cycle. So the write cycle also begins with the assertion of ALE. Okay. So whenever the ALE is get activated, so then only the cycle begins. So whether it might be a read cycle or write cycle, it will be gets activated after the assertion of ALE. So whenever the ALE is high only during time T1. So during times T1 only this ALE signal will be high. So that means at time T1 the ALE got enabled and the rest of the clock it is disabled. So at time T1 only the address will be carried out. So you cannot observe any changes over this address status lines since you have ALE at the starting of the operations. So the address will be carried out first. So this is your write cycle. So this is your write cycle and this is your read cycle. So you cannot observe any difference over this address status line. So in both the cases it is same. Okay. Same operation will be carried out here. So here in this read mode, so the buses will be reserved for data. So the data will not be transferred to and fro. So it will be reserved. So in this case, there will be a valid data. So the microprocessor has to operate on the data. So there will be a valid data over here. So that is the only difference you can observe. So here the buses are reserved for the data carrying process, and here it has a valid data. Okay, so during T2 after sending the data, so here only there will be, after T2 only the data will be sent. So after T2 in T2 after sending the data, in T1 the processor sent the data to be written on this. Okay, so address locations will be sent during T1 and data will be sent after T1. Okay, so address will be sent during T1. So only T1 only, during T1 only the address will be the address lines are get activated. So during this time the address, this is the address line and this is the data line. So this is data, this is address. So during time T1 only address signal is activated. So rest of the time the data signal is activated. Okay, so this is the data signal. So that there will be valid data over the memory unit. So this valid data, the microprocessor will work on this valid data and it will provide a write operation. Same here, the write operation will be performed after T2. Okay, so after entering into T2, then only the write operation will be performed. So since there will be no availability of data up to T2, so after T2 only the write operation will be carried out. So this is how the write operation will be valid and it will be finished at T4. Okay, any operation on the microprocessor will count four clock cycles. So we can explain any operation in 4 clock cycles. So it will be carried out up to T4. At T4, the task is completed and a new task will be projected. So the data remains on the buses until T4 state. Until T4 state, the data will be available on the buses and the write operation is begins at the T2 and it will be operated up to T4. So the write operations becomes active at T2. Okay, so from T2 to remaining at the end of the cycle, the write operation will be performed. So den bar and dt by r bar goes in, den bar is always goes with read and write operations. Dt by r bar here in read operations it goes, so data will be received. So r bar will get activated. So this is receiving of data. It will be exactly opposite. It is transferring of data. So that means the output will be transferred to the output devices. Okay. So this is how the write cycle will be operated. So this is how the read cycle and write cycle will be operated. Do you have any doubts regarding this read and write cycles? Any doubts?
No, madam.
No. So you people are clear with minimum mode operation, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. So that's all about today's class. Tomorrow I'll discuss about maximum mode operation.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.